G'day guys, how's it going? My name is CJ. With all the hype surrounding the Galaxy S20, we do start to become a little bit myopic and focus only on the latest and shiny gadget that's been placed in front of us. So for those who waited on Samsung to announce the S20 before buying their next phone, I think we should talk about the obvious alternative. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons to think about buying the iPhone 11 Pro, maybe even the Max version instead. Let's get started. Now the main theme of this video you'll pick up on is the word quality. If you think this video is quality, remember to hit the like button and subscribe, hitting the bell icon with it too. Now the first and most important reason for me to buy the 11 Pro is its quality battery life. The iPhone XS Max had a decent battery, but it couldn't quite stand up to rivals like the Note 9, S10, Huawei Mate 20 or the P30 Pro. This time round, however, they've gone with a bigger battery and they've combined it with its powerful but efficient A13 processor, resulting in a night and day difference that you can see right from day one. And it easily lasts 2 days without breaking a sweat. And the inclusion of a fast charger, finally, means you can finally get what Android fans have been living with for years. And that is recharge speeds up to 50% in 30 minutes straight out of the box. So even if you're running low, you can be back up and running in no time, keeping you going and going and going. This isn't unique to the Max model either, as the smaller 5.8-inch version is also leaps ahead of its predecessor, the smaller XS. And to date, I still haven't come across another Android phone with as impressive of a standby time as well. So if you leave it off the charge overnight, it'll only drop by a percentage or 2. And that's compared to most Android phones that'll drop at least 5 to 8%, if not more, overnight. So if anything, grab the iPhone 11 Pro for its sweet, sweet battery life. Now the second reason to buy the phone is its excellent camera experience. Its triple lens setup is excellent, and so is its night mode. I mean, yeah, triple lens systems have been around for a couple of years now, and Apple are latecomers to the party. But as per usual, good things do come to those who wait, and as a result, Apple does have one of the better implementation and experiences. Focal length wise, it's very similar to competitors, it doesn't quite match the S20's 3, 10, 30, 100 times space zoom, but it's all about the experience. I like how you get a sneak preview outside the frame when using any focal length other than the ultra wide, and you also don't get much variation in white balance when you switch between different lenses and focal lengths. This is something that sometimes creeps in with the competitors like Samsung and OnePlus. It also has an excellent night mode where it's baked right into the UI, and it activates automatically when lighting drops to a certain level. It's actually quite similar to how Samsung has implemented it as well, but I think it works a bit better and a bit quicker as well on the iPhone. You'll see a small icon with a number appear in the top left-hand corner, indicating the length of exposure, and when you tap the shutter button, I like how it does a cool little countdown animation. It's a small but useful detail that gives you a better feel of timing and how long you're supposed to hold the phone still. Better than simply telling you to hold still. I mean, for how long? Tell me. You also get the flexibility of the wide angle and telephoto portrait mode too, which is nice. Edge detection just keeps on improving, and it even nails portrait photos of our fluffy friends as well, with really great success rates. I'm also a fan of how it renders the out of focus areas with subtle variations depending on proximity. It tends to be a more realistic representation that you'd normally get with a DSLR or mirrorless photography. I'll also make a quick shout out to the slightly wider angle selfie lens as well. It's not quite as wide as the Pixel 3's old wide angle selfie cam, but it's a much welcome change when you need to fit more into the frame. But ultimately, the main draw of this new camera system is quality. It's snappy, responsive, autofocus is on point, and then photos taken in both good lighting and in night mode still compete really well with the latest phones like the S20, showing a nice balance of color, contrast, and detail. Now it might not be as contrasty and dramatic as the Pixel 4, but for most people it's going to be an excellent camera. And now not straying away from the camera is the third reason, video quality. We live in an age where video takes much more of a front seat with both content and social media through Instagram stories, Snapchat, TikTok, and of course, YouTube. So it always helps to have a great device to record video, and the iPhone 11 Pro absolutely knocks it out of the park. I mean, we've always known the iPhone reigns supreme when it comes to video. And with the 11 Pro, the lead extends further to a point where it's becoming useless to compare it to anything else on the market. Sure, it doesn't shoot 8K like the S20 does, but that's not really relevant when it comes to usability. In my opinion, it reigns supreme, shooting the best 4K footage, whether it be in 60, 30 or 24 frames per second. It also has excellent quality in its 1080p 240 frames per second slow-mo. And with that, it really has no competition. And that's to be expected with Apple's video. It's class leading with good dynamic range, excellent detail and color reproduction. On top of that, the ability to zoom between the lenses has been implemented near seamlessly. And again, if you watch very closely, you can just about pick it up when it switches lenses. Not only from the slight parallax error that you see, but obviously in the switch in the level of detail. Pair this system with an app like Filmic Pro or the Moment Pro camera app with manual controls, and you've got yourself a pretty damn robust filmmaking tool. Also, for the sake of social media, you can still shoot selfie video in 4K, and then you also have Slofies. The less we hear of that, the better. But the next thing I will comment on though is the fourth reason, and that's build quality and design. Something Apple has built a reputation for nailing, so it's really not that surprising. So I'm going to start first with the screen. On the whole, the screen hasn't changed all that much from previous versions, but the main point is that whilst it's not a high refresh screen like you see with an S20 or the Pixel, it's still an excellent OLED panel with a 120Hz response rate, meaning it at least feels super fast when you swipe around the UI. Sure, it is a shame that it's not a high refresh rate screen, but honestly when you compare it to other 60Hz screen, aside from the Galaxy Note 10, there aren't many better. And most people probably wouldn't even notice the change in refresh rate with day-to-day use anyway. Now another thing I love about the screen is that it fortunately retains a flat design, unlike the swath of curved screens we see now. And the fact that the S20 has less pronounced curves as well do show that people prefer the less curved design, and the actual novelty of having a really curved screen probably has worn off for most people. So the iPhone 11 Pro on the surface is very much an evolution in design, but the change from a glossy glass to a frosted matte finish on the back with its centralized Apple logo also makes an already handsome phone even more elegant. The matte finish repels fingerprints really well, and I absolutely don't feel the compulsion to cover it with a case or a skin like I've done with all my other glossy phones. It's the same reason I never bothered skinning my OnePlus 7 Pro either. On top of that, I do love the midnight green color and I don't want to hide that. It's a subtle colorway which looks both green and gray depending on the lighting condition, and it gives you two colors for the price of one. So that's an added bonus. Everything else about the design though is very familiar. There's a sturdy stainless steel body that's sandwiched between two pieces of glass, and its slightly heftier weight from the bigger battery makes for a very solid device that you feel can and probably will take a battering without much trouble, unless of course you drop it. And then finally, the last reason shouldn't come as much of a surprise, but it's the ecosystem. Now I know this isn't necessarily specific for the 11 Pro, but one of the main reasons anyone buys into the iPhone is about the ecosystem. It's got a robust app support, and the ease of communication with friends and family is really important as well. I've spoken to many people about their motivations in sticking with the iPhone, and countless times it's often come down to the unique software integration and how iOS devices communicate with one another. A lot of the time it can come down to something as simple as iMessage as the main point. But not only that, when you have features like AirDrop and reliable software updates, coupled with ownership of other Apple devices like an iPad and maybe less so a MacBook, owning an iPhone just simply makes sense. And if you've got the cash to burn, well, I mean, why not own the one that's most capable? Anyway, those are my 5 reasons to buy an iPhone 11 Pro. What are your reasons? Why did you choose to pick one up? Let me know in the comments section below. Of course, thank you so much for watching this video. Give us a like if you enjoyed it, and do consider subscribing. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. And of course, say good day to your mum for me. Cheers.